Welcome, my friends, to the most extraordinary page and intensive and adventure that I and my beloved collaborators have ever created. Not even sure I should call it an intensive, but that's the term I've been using now since I was awakened exactly 5 years ago today. We are recording this on February 24th. 5 years ago, at 4 a.m. on the morning of February 24th, I was awakened, and I clearly heard in my left ear, prayer artist. Scared the dickens out of me, because I knew in that moment that whoever I thought I was, author of the 7 books, teacher of all these courses, that person was finished. And prayer artist had moved in. And prayer artist has indeed changed absolutely everything. But I hope that sentence doesn't scare you. Prayer artist, yes, she has changed everything. And I am having the time of my life. As a prayer artist and mystic witch, you cannot have more fun than this. Life is play because life happens in the mystical theta brainwave state. So whether you've been playing with me for years now, or you're just landing here because somebody suggested, go look at this, welcome. Welcome to a whole new world. And that world actually has a name. But let me begin by introducing you to me, Janet Connor. Most of you know me as the author of Writing Down Your Soul. There are 7 books, but this is the book that invariably somebody tells you about, and you read this and your world changes. So this book introduces deep soul writing. To prepare this book, to try to explain to people that when you pick up a pen and have a conversation with a divine voice every single day, your entire world changes. And it changes because you are dropping into a place where this mystical, magical voice is alive and active and talking to you on the page. Now, that voice completely changed my life, and I got a contract to write a book, Writing Down Your Soul. But to be honest, I didn't really understand why. Why is this so outrageously magical? So I dropped into research. I wanted to be able to give you something to explain besides Janet saying, pick up a pen and have a conversation every day. So I did deep research on psychology. There is 35 years of research led by James Pennebaker that absolutely clearly proves that when you write in this way, you have all the markers, psychological, physical, that you get meditating. I thought, well, that's pretty cool. I'm going to put that in my book. Then I read Candace Pert, who discovered that your emotions are not in your heart. They're in every single cell of your body as neuropeptides. And when you tell your story, when you let your story out, and of course, my way of doing it is in writing. You know what happens in your body? I'm still flabbergasted by this. You actually expand the carotid artery to your brain, and suddenly your brain has more food and you can begin to think differently. I thought, oh, that's pretty spectacular. I'm putting that in my book. And then my body said there's a third. I don't know what it was. I picked up a pen and said to my divine voice, excuse me, we're working under deadline here, and I know there's a third. Could you please? Well, immediately, the next day, I heard an interview with a couple who called themselves consciousness coaches. I listened to that interview and went, I don't know who these people are, but I need to talk to them. And I reached out, ended up having a lovely conversation with them. And they said that writing is the most powerful and effective spiritual practice, period. What? I mean, I know that, but this is actually true. And so I was pretty excited. This quote is going in my book, right? So because they're my people, I was like, ooh, we are just so in sync. I opened my mouth and said something I had never said to anyone. I said, so what does it mean when you're writing so fast and you couldn't lift the pen off the page if you wanted? And words come through, ideas come through that you know are not from you. And there was silence. And I thought, oh, Janet, you have completely blown this interview. And these people now think you're crazy. And they're going to tell you, don't you dare quote us in your book, crazy lady. And so I was scrambling. Okay, how can I change the conversation? Because I wanted that quote that writing is the most powerful mystical practice. Well, while I'm sitting here going, oh, how can I solve this problem? They said, lady, we do not know how you have done it, but you have trained yourself to enter mystical theta. And that was the moment that I learned, discovered, realized why writing down your soul is so wildly effective. It drops us into the magic place, the mystical theta brainwave state. And you know this state. You were born into it and you lived in it from the age of 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5. Bruce Lipton, who has done so much research on brainwave states, has spoken at length about the fact that at 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, your developing brain is only in theta. Now think about it. Who were you when you were 3? You were playing, you were talking to your trucks and your dolls, and the sofa was a train, and you could put a towel over your shoulder and fly. Invisible people, of course, you talked to them all the time. Your dead grandmother, there she was, angels, sure, having conversations. Invisible friends, of course, they had names. Why, you told your mother to set a place at the table for them. It was all so real. You know why? Because it's real. It's real. And the art of becoming a witch is simple. We are going to return to this sacred knowing that at 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, you knew you were magic. You knew you could talk to plants and that they answered back. You knew that the animals were your friends. But then our patriarchal systems, our religion, our schools, everything about our lives told us, no, plants do not talk. The grasshopper is not singing with you. And you went to school and forgot that you are magic. So I have invited my favorite mystic friends to come and help us awaken, remember, and trust. A-R-T, the art, awaken, remember, and trust of becoming a witch. And we're going to do that by awakening, remembering, and trusting our 5 intuitive senses. Your body is brilliant. Your body, created by Our Lady, Queen of the Magicians, is filled with wonder and mystery and wisdom and joy and play. And we're going to remember who we really are. So, Susie von Menzenkamp, medium, Ramsey Cheedy, medium, psychic medium, Emma Kupu Mitchell, plant whisperer. I mean, the woman talks to the plants and they answer, and Mary Magdalene talks, and Madame Pele talks. Kathy Pratt, her sacred image artist, why, she sits down and asks, goddesses, would you like your portrait taken? And they say yes. And she listens and watches, obviously seeing what you cannot see, and paints their pictures. So I invited them, come, help me create this outrageous intensive, the art of becoming a mystic witch. How to awaken, remember, and trust your body's 5 natural intuitive senses. And we got together. And you can see on this landing page all the fabulous things we have created and talked about. It's taken us since December, to create this. But we didn't really know what we were doing. Last night, this morning, February 24th, 2023, Our Lady, Queen of Magicians, woke me up at 4 a.m. and told me what we were really doing. And I can show it to you because this is Janet going to sleep at night. This little funny chicken scratch, tiny, hard to read writing. This is normal for me. This is the art of becoming a witch. And I simply take dictation. I write it all down. And this morning as I woke, I knew something big had happened in the night. And I reread these notes. And I don't know why, but I said, what is today? Or ask myself that when I wake. Today is February 24th, the 5th anniversary of her whispering in my ear, prayer artist. This is the little extra special, the wonder and the joy of the art of becoming a witch. And here's what she taught me. She said, think about Hogwarts. Now, I know all about Hogwarts because my son thought he was Harry Potter, lived in the Harry Potter world. Listen to this. We are creating or returning to or being taught at, not Hogwarts, but our own special Becoming Witch school. Who's the head of it? Our Lady, Queen of Magicians. We also have Archangel Lucy and Archangel Michael. We have our own archangels. The witches have their own archangels. We have Black Moon Lilith. Oh, have we got Black Moon Lilith and Joan, the greatest mystic witch of all time. This is who has been feeding us to create this intensive. We also have our mystic families. I've been talking about your mystic family for years now. Our mystic family is talking to us, supporting us, teaching us. Who do you think invited you to come and look at this video? I think it might be your mystic family beckoning you. Come on, honey, it's time to remember who you really are. Well, do we have spells? Oh, have we got spells? She dictated the most astonishing anointing I have ever received. Do we have potions? Yes. She already dictated the unbelievable becoming potion to Emma Cooper Mitchell, who didn't know. She just obeyed Mary Magdalene, Madame Pele, and Black Moon Lilith told her what to put in that. And now we're going to be anointing our bodies with the most powerful potion of all time. Do we have our magic wand? I mean, if you're going to go to Hogwarts, you got to have a wand, right? This is my son's actual. Yes, we do. Prayer beads, pendulums. You will decide for yourself. You know how Harry chose his own wand. You will be choosing for yourself what your magic wand is. Now, do we have familiars? You remember Harry with his white owl? She already was scolding me to include familiars on the landing page 2 days ago. I've never asked anybody to bring a familiar, but I have a familiar. She is with me at all times. She writes the newsletters with me. She scolds me if I leave the room to go write a newsletter. She says, excuse me. So Hildemore, a witch doll, is my familiar. And before I had her You've all met, I think, Gabriel, my totem animal, my osprey. Who is your familiar? I don't know. Look around. Who's talking to you? Who wants to come? Is it a doll? Is it a stone? Is it a magic crystal? Is it a plant? Is it an animal? Years ago, when I was writing down your soul, I opened my front door and there was an absolutely perfect dead dragonfly on my welcome mat. Okay, that was my familiar throughout the entire time I wrote the book. So I will be inviting you to bring your familiar. There will be a blessing of the familiars at the opening ceremony. We have our insignia, of course, her garden of reverence, the female trinity, and so much more, right? But you know what every school needs? Professors. Professors. And I've got the most exciting professors to introduce you to. And that's what I'm going to do right now. But I'd like you to know the last thing she told me. The last thing she said to me. And in the middle of the night, I just wrote it down. She gave me the name of this mystical, magical school. And you are invited now to come to Mystica, Mystica. And you know the confirmation of it? I did the numerology in my sleep. Mystica is a 27. Witch is a 27. Our number is a 27. So would you like to meet your professors in Mystica? Mystica is the real world. This is the patriarchal world we live in, the world with logic and linear thinking and left brain thinking and obey and winning and performance and all the things that you have been conditioned to believe and do. She created, call it the underworld, it's the real world, Mystica, where plants talk and you can see what you cannot see. And animals talk and you can hear what you do not hear. So I'd like to introduce you to your professors, starting with the astonishing plant whisperer, Emma Kupu Mitchell.
Wow, Janet, I'm not quite sure where to start, but it's an honor to play with all of you in Mystica. So I will be, along with Janet, awakening and helping you remember what you do not hear. So the art of
Emma,
listening.
you sound really soft. Have you done anything to turn yourself down?
Yeah, you know what? My other headset died. Talk about hearing. Is that better or no?
Well, speak up.
That's too funny. Let me just check the sound. Talking of sound and hearing, right? Yeah, I adjusted. Is it better now? Is that better? Yeah, so that's so interesting. Yeah, we were chatting pre the recording, and I had my earpods in, and they talk about listening. Went, oh, yeah, we were talking about many things, but I shall be sharing the act of playing and remembering through listening to the plants and the stones and the rocks in my world. I'll be sharing some of the protocols that I hear unexpectedly and how you also can open up that sense of clairaudience and hearing what you do not hear. So with that, let me switch my headset and I'm going to pass on to my next professor, Janet.
And that professor is medium, magnificent witch, Susie van Menzenkamp in Ireland.
Thank you, Janet. This just keeps getting better and better from the moment it started to make us, we became aware of it and we started exploring it with this absolute childlike curiosity. None of us know where we're being guided from one end of the day to the next. And it's been quite profound. I'm so excited to be part of this. And I playfully invite you to come with us and explore that imaginal realm. Really, I want to go back to our natural state. I was having visions yesterday of just when I was just daydreaming in the sunlight, of being back when I was a little girl, playing in the woods, making my little potions. I knew what the plants that were safe to eat and drink from. I knew the ones to leave be, that natural guidance that was there. I feel like it's coming back, and it's really awakening within me for sure. And I want to bring you on this journey. I want to, let's all go together and explore through space and time, traveling, reconnecting with that magical, mystical, the gifts of our childhood. We're going to press magic buttons, and Mother Earth is going to be the one who guides us. And we're going to arrive wherever we're being called. And that's really the only way I feel I can show up these days. I have to just trust wherever I'm called and go there somewhere in the land of Mystica. So whether we're tuning into the fairies or the nature spirits, listening to rocks, or, whatever sense we're using, I have a real strong feeling that we're developing our 3-year-old senses, playing with those imaginal senses in this sort of innerversity. I feel like we're going back into this innerversity and remembering and meeting again our imaginal friends from those times. And it feels really fun and light and very playful. And I can't wait. I genuinely cannot wait. I'm so excited.
And that term, the innerversity, that's magica. That is a magnificent term. It's our innerversity, and the innerversity is already in these eyes that can see what my eyes cannot see, and my ears that can hear what my ears cannot hear. So next, professor, and you remember if you had a child that was obsessed with Harry Potter, these professors are characters. They're just spectacular, wild, fun characters. So let's go to Montreal and meet the character, Ramsey Cheedy.
Hey, everyone. We're going to have fun. I'm not a professor, to be honest with you. I'm more of a playful person. I get my little own toys where we can play with. But the best part of it, we're going to jump into the energy realm, deep dive into Mystica. And in Mystica, I'm going to help you jump over the energy strands to pick up the information that are ripe for a psychic reading and bring them into the realm of beingness and give them into a story to the person sitting in front of you. This is the art of awakening your dormant mind into a magical place like Mystica.
So Ramsey, when we were 3, we were all psychic mediums. You and Susie have been studying now for 3 years to remember, to awaken this capacity. But at 3, we were talking to our dead grandparents, right? We were talking to dead people, right? So not only were we theta babies and playful and creative, but I never thought about this till you just said it. We're remembering how to be psychic mediums. We are. This is how we're wired. She made us as psychic mediums. You and Susie simply answered the call as adults. You know what? I think I'm going to learn this, and I'm going to help people receive messages from the dead. But I guess you could ask any 3-year-old. Oh, this is so exciting. So I have another professor, and sorry, we have to call you professors.
Professor.
But remember, and if you haven't seen the movies, go watch them. These people were characters. So I have a fabulous character for you. Her sacred image portrait artist, Kathy Pratt. I don't know how much more of a wild character you can be. She is the only person I've ever met anywhere, ever heard of, that sits down with archangels and says, hey, would you like your portrait taken? Now she asks, right? And then the angel, the goddess, Black Moon Lilith says, why, yes, dear, I actually would. So they tell us how you see what you do not see.
Yeah, well, a lot of it was remembering. I talked to my cat when I was little and knew that he was talking back to me. But, you know, Janet, your writing really opened things back up for me. And now I'm faithfully doing that every day, multiple times a day. And I just ask. I ask for who I want to talk to and what I want to see. And if they feel like cooperating, then it goes on to the page. I've been an artist my whole life and turn ideas into images. And so that's what I do is I just, you know, I look at what I can find and then I try and put it on paper. And mostly it's trusting and not thinking that I'm a lunatic, and I don't anymore. What I know is that I feel so thankful and healthier, and it's so fun. Nothing could be more fun than this. And I also believe that everybody can do it. So we're just going to play and play with each other as support, and it's going to be a blast.
So it is. This is going to be so much fun. I'm so grateful that she woke me and put it in the context of Hogwarts. But it's also at the same time that it is so much fun. There's a reason. There's a reason that she is calling us. Now is the time. Now is the time. You've got to awaken, remember, and trust that you are a mystic witch. This is how I made you, beloved. Now, when we 5 got together to begin to play with this before she even told us it was Mystica, we looked at the calendar, we looked at the schedule. When are we going to do this? When are we going to do this? And March to June was kind of going right this way. And then, even though I already had this, like, oh, I think this is the big event for this year, and it's got to be stretched out because people need time to experiment with seeing what you do not see, blind vision. They need time. So this isn't like you come to a class and you learn something. No, you're going to come to a gathering, play with seeing what you do not see, and then go off in small groups and experiment on your own with one another and play until you do begin to, wait a second, I actually trust that I'm seeing what I do not see. I actually trust that I'm hearing what I do not hear. So this couldn't be a typical intensive for me, which can be, 4 or 5 Tuesdays or Saturdays in a row. And so it felt like, oh, I know when we're going to do this, right after the vernal equinox, and we're just going to finish at the beginning of June. Did you watch the forecast? Did you hear Marcia Wade and Emma Cooper Mitchell talking about the 80-day window that the universe has created for us? Everything is changing, and it's starting on March 23rd. Now, when I heard Marcia and Emma talk about this during the forecast, which is still available if you want to watch it, there was a part of me that went, wait a second. If you're anywhere near my age, I'll be 75 this year, you have been singing the song since college of the age of Aquarius, right? This is the dawning of the age of Aquarius. Yeah, well, it hasn't been, right? We started singing that song 50 years ago. Show me the age of Aquarius. Here she is. She's coming. And her big window where she's whispering into our ears, come, it's time. It's time to create what I've been calling her garden of reverence. You've heard me say this now for 3 years. So Emma, as we say goodbye on this fun little introduction to Mystica and the professors and the 5 intuitive senses, could you give us just a wee awareness of how sacred this moment in time is.
Yes, I'd be honored. Can you hear me? I've put my earpods back in. There's games going on. They're going to go, yeah, you're sharing about hearing and listening. We're going to awaken yours. I just got that. The joke's on me. Yes, Janet. So what's happening? I sense that this is a portal of time. So just to give you context, because astrology can be very heady, on March the 23rd this year to June the 11th, we have this mystical time of transformation, regeneration, and renewal because of our dear friend Pluto. Now, Pluto in the sky has a really large orbit, so none of us have lived through this time of Pluto putting one kind of foot into Aquarius. And these ages, by the way, are like 2,000 years plus. So we are wetting our foot or our toes into this Aquarian cosmic energy in this 80-day time period from March the 23rd to June the 11th. The last time this happened, just to put it in context, I mean, maybe we were here in other forms, who knows, but it was 1778 to 1798. And if you go back in history, that was a revolutionary time. Huge time of dissolving and upheaval and yeah. So I don't know what's going to happen. All I do know is we're being supported and kind of beckoning, come this way, come this way. It's a fixed air sign. So we are being activating these higher cosmic energies literally in this portal. So more on that with Marcia on the opening ceremony, but we're just wetting, come wet your toes with us, right?
So the wetting of the toes is the invitation. Do you remember in the movie, the Hogwarts invitation, the owl brings it to Harry, but the muggles all keep him from getting it. And so finally there's just this onslaught of 1,000 envelopes landing. Envelope. This is your invitation. And you know that you know. There's a part of you listening to this video and meeting the professors and going, oh, yeah. And then there's that left brain part that goes, yeah, but when is it? And will I be able to be there? And can I afford it? And all of those things. Invitation. The invitation, and I think Kathy's going to be painting an invitation for you. The invitation is coming. And it's not coming from Janet or Susie or Ramsey or Kathy. It's coming from you, coming from Our Lady, Queen of the Magicians. It's coming from Mystica. It's coming from your familiar. The invitation is here, your hands. And we, the professors of Mystica, invite you. This is the time you're needed. Everybody is needed. These are your sacred gifts. And the world, the age of Aquarius, can be born in and through and as each one of us. When we activate blind vision and see what we do not see, when we activate silent listening and hear and trust that we hear what we do not hear, when we trust our bodies and the knowledge and the wisdom, and when we go where we're called, where you're called right now is to enter the world of Mystica. All kinds of information is on this landing page. I know it's kind of long, but I wanted you to see it as I see it. And so take your time, read the details, and then come and play in the magical, magnificent world of Mystica.